Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 80s Parenting Podcast. I'm Malinda, and I'm here with my friend Heather. Hi, Heather.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Good,
I'm
good,
good.
good, good. Hey, what happened this week in your life? Anything exciting?
Um, okay, so I have a question.
Okay.
I started because I'm way behind on TV.
Yep.
So I watched WandaVision for the first time. Really good show. I don't understand it. Like, I don't get it. It was really good, and I probably should watch it again because I don't know, maybe I dozed off during a few episodes. But so have you watched it?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, so it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's based on a Marvel comic. So Wanda is, I thought she was a superhero through the whole show. And she's married to Vision, who is obviously a superhero. And so they're married, and she went through all this trauma in her life, and she created this whole universe, or not universe, but she created this town, or took over this town, and then turned it into a TV show. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. It's good. You should watch it. But it turned out at the end that she was actually a witch. I didn't even know there were witches in comic books, first of all. And then there's going to be a sequel to the show so one of the characters plays her neighbor in the show that she creates. And her name is Agnes in the show that she creates in this little universe world that she's got going on to, I guess, help recover from her trauma.
Okay.
So confused. Anyway, Agnes turns out to be Agatha, who's a witch. So then there is, and she's played by Catherine Hahn, who I love. She's fantastic. And so in the sequel, Wanda and Vision are not in the sequel, supposedly. It's just going to be Agatha. However, Wanda and Vision have twin boys. And one of them, I think it's Billy, is going to be in the sequel because he's a witch too. Because these boys end up having powers as well. And Wanda ends up being a witch at the end of this, and she's like a super, super powerful witch. And like, how did this even? How did we get here? And how are the twins then? Because at the end, like Wanda and Vision go away. Like Vision dies, I think, and Wanda goes and lives in a cabin in the woods somewhere. And they just leave their kids. With this bitch.
Sounds
Sounds
like
like
a bunch of
parenting.
yeah, 80s parenting and a bunch of Hansel and Gretel. Is there an edible house?
They just leave these kids. And so then in the sequel, one of the twins
Yeah.
is with Agatha. I don't understand
Well,
how.
one, you lost me in the very beginning with Wanda and Vision is the title of the comic and the people's names. So
Well, yeah. So Vision is the one guy. Wanda. So she used to be a superhero for what's the Iron Man sword? Um, so she used to be like one of their superheroes, but then in the end, it turns out she's actually a witch. She's not a superhero, or maybe she's a superhero witch. Is that a thing?
I don't know, can she fly on a broom?
No, she can just fly. She gets
Oh,
like
well then
red
she's a
power
super.
hands and flies.
Okay, so she identifies as a superhero and a witch.
She must. But I'm like, who just leaves their kids? And then how do the kids play in with this sequel that doesn't even have Wanda or Vision in it? It's just got Agatha, who was the neighbor, but who wasn't really a neighbor. She was actually a witch.
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask, chat about that situation because I think he probably
Yeah.
watched that
He
show.
did watch it. He's the one that told me about it when I was
Yeah.
there. He's like, "Oh, you got to stick with it," because I started watching it, and in the beginning, it just looks like this weird '50s sitcom. And like, well, like Wanda was obsessed with sitcoms, and so she always watched them as a kid with her parents, and their parents got killed in a bombing. And
Oh,
so when
geez.
she created this alternate universe that she wanted to live in, and she took over this town, everything is like sitcoms from different generations, and it always changes. And so like the first three I think it's the third episode you finally figure out that wait, she's in an alternate universe. Initially, it just looks like these weird sitcom episodes. And I'm like, what am I watching? But it was intriguing enough to keep me coming back.
Yeah.
And then when I got to the third episode, I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm starting to get what's going on a little bit. And then they completely threw me in the end. Like the last two episodes, I was just like, I'm more lost than I have ever been.
They gave you a cliffhanger.
I guess, but then they don't pick it up where you would like, there's no sequel to WandaVision. It's Agatha Coven of Chaos or something like that is what they finally landed on. I don't know. I need to talk to your husband because I think he can probably explain this to me because he's the one that was like, no, stick with it. It gets really good. I'm like, okay, I agree, but I still don't understand it.
Well, I am lost on that one, but it does sound interesting.
It was good. It was very interesting.
I'm
I
like,
got my Scoops Ahoy shirt on today because I'm, trying to manifest Stranger Things final season coming out soon
oh
in
yeah,
2025.
2025. Well, they have all that. Speaking of supernatural stuff, they have all that they have to film. But those kids will be old.
I know that's what they were trying. I was reading a thing online about that because of that strike. They pushed everything got pushed back like a year. And so
Yeah.
now they've got to hurry up and try to film it before because Millie Bobby Brown is like in her 20s.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be a high school kid.
Well,
So
she looks pretty young without makeup.
she does. They all do, actually. They were interviewing all of them on a Netflix thing because I follow
See,
Netflix.
now that's one of those shows that I had to skip a lot through, like all the violent parts of it. I mean, I am like the true crime lady, but I can't. Ugh.
No, I love that show.
No, thank you.
Oh,
I don't like any of that, like weird, like the monsters and the killing and that kind of stuff. I don't know, but it was good. But violent. It's kind of like I love the Harry Potter books, but like watching the movies when it gets really violent, I was like, ooh, not
really.
not for me. I don't like. I don't
That's
know. It's
interesting.
weird. Isn't that weird that I don't like violence that's in like fiction, but in real life, I can't watch it. Like your 2020s and your Datelines and any of those kind of shows,
Oh,
but I can listen to it.
so it's the actual visual seeing of it.
So I visualize what I want to visualize
I see.
other than what is actually like. I don't know what the people look like. I don't know. Like I know their names and I know their story, but I don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
So I can't. So I won't have nightmares at the end of the day. Speaking of which,
Oh.
I had another dream with a good book plot line, and
Okay.
then I totally lost it. I
Oh,
went to go write it down. I like my mistake was I went to the restroom before I wrote it down.
no. Can't do
No,
that.
can't do it. Can't do it. So for the listeners, I have these weird, detailed dreams that I write down, and HT here thinks that one of them is a potential story.
I'm working on it.
You're working on
We need
it.
to talk offline because I have lots of questions.
Ooh, lots of questions. Okay. Yeah. So some of it's confusing. Anyway, so good week for you on the entertainment realm,
Yeah.
or maybe a little confusing.
Confusing week for me, but it
Confusing
was
week for
good.
you. And I've been trying to finish that book where Heather and I are in a book club.
Oh, yes.
And I've been trying to finish that Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. And I like it so far.
I do too.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a lot of combination of a lot of books that I've read.
Mhm.
And so it kind of, but he has a different perspective on a couple different things. So it is interesting. And I do like it. So I hopefully will finish that soon. So anyway,
Are you doing the audio or are you reading it?
I'm doing the audio so I could stay awake. Paige and I are reading a book called The Island.
Is it
And
good?
yeah, well, it's a YA, so I love it.
Oh, there you go.
And it takes place on an island.
No.
No, I'm trying to think of where it was based off of. I think it was East Coast or something. I don't remember now, but it's funny because they use all the current terms like TikTok and Instagram, and
Really?
they throw a bunch of influencers on this island that this guy made that's like fancy, like super rich, with roller coasters and this fancy hotel and things, and they go on the island and chaos ensues.
That sounds fun. Sounds a lot like something we'll see on reality TV in a few years.
I think it's already been done.
Oh, hey, cool.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah, it's
me,
called The Real World.
the real world.
The OG.
I was speaking of an island in reality TV. I was watching one called, oh my gosh, I can't recall the name, but they're all the same.
Mm.
So insert name. A group of people were on an island, and half of them were in the bougie hotel and half of them had a camp. And so
Oh,
the purpose was to get back to the camp, or
okay.
to the big house. And so they had to like manipulate everybody and try to get their way to the big house where it's, fancy rich and they have lots of food and beds, or they're in the campsite where they have like rice and beans and, spiders. So it's like they tried, it was so silly, but
Hmm.
I couldn't stop watching it. I couldn't.
You do love a reality TV moment.
Which is weird because I used to not like them, but now I'm back into it. I'm into it. I'm into that. I'm into that. Love is Blind is my favorite one. It's so good. It's so silly and it's so good. I love that. I don't know. It just takes you away from your own reality into these Yemu's reality for me. But it's that one. I don't know. I don't remember the name, but they're all the same. It's all on Netflix. You can look it up. And I'm totally into those real estate shows.
Oh, I hate those. There's the
Like,
worst.
oh yeah. Oh, they're the worst. They're so good. But Selling Sunset, because it's in LA,
Uh,
and it's hilarious because they all dress up super fancy with these super expensive clothes, and you're like, you're going into an office.
yeah.
And like it's just funny. I mean, they do, they do it on purpose, and they drum up drama on purpose.
Mhm.
It's fascinating. And then before you know it, you're down a rabbit hole of looking all these people up on Instagram and TikTok, and what are they doing now? Are they still married? Are they divorced? Are they seeing someone else? Where do they live? Yeah, it's I need a hobby.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What are we talking about today?
without further ado, let's talk about, let me ask you this question, Heather. Did you ever try to sneak out? Let me start that again because apparently I can't read and look at my phone and you at the same time. Did you ever try to sneak out at night? And if so, what creative methods did you use and did you get caught?
So,
So that's what we're talking about today. And so Heather and I had an adventure together when we were young. I think I was 15, you were 16.
mhm.
Mm-hmm. Heather had a driver's license and I did not. So we had an epic adventure. And you know how everybody has two different sides to a story?
Yep.
So I know we've never talked about this. Like we've briefly skimmed the surface of the subject when we would, chat like, oh, you remember this? But we never really said the whole story to each other,
This is
right?
true. Because
It's
I
true.
don't really remember the whole story.
So that's what I'm talking about. So like bits and pieces you remember, but I remember I can visualize the actual event, like from start to finish. So
Really?
yes, I can. So I'll go first
All right, go
because
for
I
it.
want to see how much you might want. You got a pen? You might want to take notes.
Buckle up, kids.
Buckle up,
It's gonna
kids.
be a wild ride.
Literally a wild ride.
I'll
So
fill in the gaps for you.
okay.
Go for it.
So we'll see. So back in the
Do you
80s.
remember what year it was? Because I do.
No,
1989.
no,
Yes,
no.
it had to have been because I didn't turn 16 until 1989.
Okay, I thought it was 88, maybe.
It was 89.
That was 89.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, But it is an epic 80s parenting. So
It sure is.
so Heather and I, one, Heather was a bad influence on me. I just gotta say.
Okay.
You should
That's
see
not
her face.
fair.
Just kidding. So we were no, you actually weren't because I'm my own person and I could, but I always wanted to be cool. Like you hung out with some cool people, and I
I
always,
did.
you know what I mean? Like I always wanted to be with the cool kids. And I was like more of like a nerdy school person.
And I was the cool kid.
Okay. So we'll go with that title for you. And so you're
Sure.
okay. Okay, anyway, let's get started. So Heather and I decide we she finds out about a desert party. Now, if you don't know what a desert party is, in Arizona, there's nothing but just like a sea of deserts around. And at the time, well, at the time there was, now there's probably housing as far as the eye can see. So
Mhm.
all those developers came in and they're like, nope, we're going to take away that from you kids.
Yep.
And so you would find some rando piece of desert and somebody would drive through rocks, dirt, tumbleweeds, trees, and find an open area in the desert and start a bonfire. I mean, sometimes they would start a bonfire, sometimes not. It just depends. Which that's how come I was like, how did they get away with it? Sometimes and not other times. I think it was because if they started a fire, of course, people could see it that there
Mhm.
was a fire burning if you were driving by on this random road in Arizona.
One time they burnt an engine block.
That's fun.
I remember that from
Okay.
like a Volkswagen.
Yeah, and you never had, I mean, there was always trash. So there was always trash in the desert because no one's cleaning that up.
No.
And who knows what else was out there. So there was always something to burn. Anyway, so we found out about this party and I would stay overnight at Heather's house all the time. Because one, her parents weren't at home ever.
Nope.
So we could basically do whatever we wanted at all times. So it was, do you remember what month it was? It wasn't cold yet
It wasn't cold. I think it was in the spring.
in the spring. Okay.
Mhm.
So because I remember it got darker, it was darker earlier
Yeah.
because it was dark when we left. So, and I don't remember the exact time that we left. I don't remember. Anyway,
It was dark.
it
It
was
was like
dark.
around 8 p.m.
Okay.
probably.
So Heather and I get this idea that we're going to sneak out of her house. So Heather had a bedroom with a bathroom, and there was a small window in the bathroom.
Okay, wait. Why did we sneak out? Because I remember why. Do you remember why?
Well, your mom wouldn't let us go out.
She wouldn't let us take the car.
She wouldn't let us take the
So
car.
it was actually later than that. It had to have been like around 10 p.m. I bet we planned our escape for around 10 p.m.
I think so, because now you'll hear
Because
it.
she was home that they were home that
They
day.
were home, yeah,
They
and we
were
were waiting for them to go to sleep.
Yes, so it had to have been 10.
Yeah. So, well, hold on, because I remember this part.
Okay.
So she has the bedroom with the small window. And I mean, Heather and I probably weighed 75, 80 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Soaking wet.
Soaking wet, exactly. At the time, we were tiny, tiny girls. So we were like, okay, so we hatched this plan. So, and I think in another episode, we actually talk about the Cabbage Patch dolls. So
Mm-hmm.
Heather had Cabbage Patch dolls. So we decide we're going to this party and we are going by any means we can figure out. So we take the dolls, we put them in the bed acting like they are us, classic, like, sleeping children in a bed with like lumps, just in case Heather's mother came in the room and kind of peeked in, which I doubt she ever would. But we put these dolls in the bed, and then here we go. Right here
So
we go.
stupid.
It's so dumb. So come on, we're 15 and like 16, and I was probably Heather's January, so I had a while to go.
Like a doll with yarn hair is
Darn
gonna
hair.
pass his way, and some pillows is gonna pass
I
his
know,
way.
with like no, like, are they breathing? Nope.
Oh god.
You know how you watch baby sleep and you look to see if the covers are going up and down, you know, when you're first a new parent and you're like, I gotta see if they're breathing. You watch the line going down. Anyway, so we do that, right? So we go step one, check. Step two, we have to figure out how to get out this window. So Heather has a little stool that she used for whatever purpose in her bathroom. So we get on the stool and she hops out and I hop out. So this is a 1-story home. Her bedroom faced
Wait a minute.
what?
We have to tell why we had to go out the window.
Oh, we can't go out the front door. Everybody should know that.
Right, because it's squeaky. And the way this house was set up is like a patio home. And so the way the house was set up, my bedroom was right next to the garage, and there was a gate. Like you had to go all the way to the side of the house, like the middle of the house. So you had to go through a gate to get to the front door. And the
Right.
gate was really squeaky too. I think they did that on purpose. Left it super squeaky.
I doubt it.
So you
I
couldn't
think
go.
that's a moment of we work all the time and we'll get to it
Yeah.
situation.
So you couldn't go out the front squeaky front door and in to get to the driveway without going through the also
No.
squeaky gate. But my bathroom window was on the other side of the gate.
It bypassed all of that
Yes.
situation. And I mean, you couldn't, because your mom's door was right there. So it's like we couldn't walk by out your door, walk past her bathroom, walk past her bedroom doors and out the front door because
Right.
the house was small. So it's like you could hear
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
And we had to check the stool out the window.
nope, that comes later. We did
Okay.
not check it out the window. Hold, please.
Okay.
So we use the stool. We both of us make our way out. And at this time, like we're silent, we're stealth, we are ninjas. We are ninjas going out of this house. So I don't know how, and I don't know when you grab the car keys.
I had a key on my key ring already because I drove to school.
Okay. So you had a key ring, and there was no key fobs, folks. There was no key fobs. There was no alarms on your cars. You just locked it with a key.
Yep.
And you know, if you push the button to shut the door accidentally with your key inside, you were screwed.
Yeah.
So you had to get a coat hanger
Like
to
call
try
a
to
locksmith.
unlock the door. So we get out, we get in the car, and we're still like ninjas. We're not saying a word. We're not even like high-fiving yet, right? Because we haven't left the yard. So we get out, and we're jumping out of this window. I mean, it's not very high, but it's still taller than us. The window
And there
is,
was an oleander bush right outside the window that we had to jump into.
yeah, I know, and rocks. So, and it's Arizona, it's desert landscaping. There's no grass to cushion your fall. So we get in the car. Heather puts her in neutral and we slide down the driveway. Okay, so 2 things. One, she puts it in neutral, we slide down the driveway.
The car wasn't started because we didn't want the headlights to come on or the engine.
No. Okay, so we are smart, by the way. We're just smart. Let me just say that right now. Missed opportunity for us to be in the CIA or FBI. Missed opportunity.
Or car thieves.
They could have really used us, right? They could have came to our school and they're like, you too. You're it. We want to recruit you. Okay, so you need a career. Here we go. So we get out the drive, we get down the street, and
well, we coasted out the driveway and then we pushed the car down the street.
did we?
Yes, we did. Because we did not start the car until we were down like by the pool, because there was a community pool.
I thought that we go out? I thought there was only one way in and one way out of that
No,
house.
there were two.
Okay, good. All right, I think I remember that. So anyway, so we go and finally we're off.
Start the car.
We, we start the car. And I mean, Heather's 16, so a fairly new driver,
Yes.
even though you're a very good driver and you had many opportunity to practice with your permit at 15. So, and
Well, and I drove a golf cart for years. That'll be another episode.
yeah. So we get the car started and here we go. Now, with desert parties, there's vague directions. It's vague. It's so vague. You kind of just, I don't know how we found all of these places. I don't know how. They're like on the corner of, this street and that.
Yeah. Well, and they had names like the ones that you went to frequently, we named them.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the one? Oh
No,
God.
I
It
don't
was up
remember it.
Hawes. It was up Hawes Road. And we called it the Flats because you went up this like side of this mountain and there's just this huge clearing and you would go through that clearing. That's why we called it the Flats
Okay.
because it was just this huge clearing, no desert or anything. I think they must have like at some point probably cleared it for a house, but they never built it. And then there was a wash that went down. And so you would drive up to the flat area and then you'd go down back the wash, back through the wash.
I don't recall the names of any of these places, but I do. I can, like, how you can picture things. I can picture it right now.
You too.
So we're in the car, and the car was a tan color.
It was a 1988 or 89 because it was my mom's brand new car.
It was brand new.
Yeah, I think it was a 1989 Chevy Nova, which is like a little sedan, and it was tan. Yes, you are correct.
It was tan. And here's one thing that we didn't even think about. One, putting mileage on the car.
No,
Two, gas in the car.
no.
Those are two things like that we blew our minds. And that's when the youthfulness comes in. And the FBI is like, nope. They didn't think of gas and mileage. Nope. We're not.
Well, you couldn't Ferris Bueller it and like put it in reverse, and that's not a real thing.
Oh, yes, it is.
Well, it wasn't on a Chevy Nova in
Yeah,
1989.
you can actually turn the mileage back because guess who does that? The FBI.
Well, we didn't get hired.
I know we didn't get hired. Anyway, whatever. Who cares? If they're listening right now, then I'm still up for an opportunity. I'm a new 50. I can take on cases. So, and I'm very observant.
Oh, carry on.
Okay. Anyway. So we get to the party. So here we are, we're driving. And Heather's driving like a bat out of hell through the desert. No, like, I don't know if you had regard for your mom's car or if we started out having a regard for your mom's car and then we're like, eh. So there was all these trees and bushes, and now we have desert pinstriping on the sides of this car. And desert pinstriping is just how it sounds. It is scraping of these hard plants alongside the paint of your car.
Yeah. It's just scratches all down the side of the car,
of a new car.
Tree branches and bushes and brush.
Right. Like you would notice.
Yeah.
Like if you owned the vehicle, you would notice.
Yes.
If you just like drove some random car, you wouldn't notice someone else's car, but someone who owned the car would notice. So we get to the desert party and, we're hanging out. There's lots of people there. Lots of people show up. There's a fire. I see like tons of people from our high school there. And I remember I saw, on a side note, I saw the old high school crush that I had for many, many years at the party.
Oh,
who shall not be named, was there, because hold on, it gets better at the end. So we stay at this party, right? And then we must have left really late because the sun is starting to come up.
mm-hmm.
And we're like, holy crap, we gotta go. I don't remember how far, like distance wise, it was from your house to the party that we were at. I don't remember how
Yeah, it's
far
probably
away.
like 20 minutes, maybe.
20 minutes. So, and we are such responsible teens.
Sure are.
There was there was there was minimal drinking and smoking going on at this party. No,
Sure.
no. Okay. So, yes, kids, we were those kids that your parents, if asked, would say, my daughter doesn't drink. My daughter's an angel. My daughter would never do that. Sitting in front of the FBI, my mom would say that
Yeah.
to someone.
Mine probably would not.
Yeah, I know, because there's another story that we could tell where your mom ratted me out. Ugh. Anyway, so here we are, right? Not thinking about the mileage, not thinking about the gas, not thinking about the heat of the car
Mm-hmm.
that we just drove, right? And it's, so the sun's starting to come up. It's pretty close to sunrise. So here we are, and we're half lit. Probably shouldn't have drove, that kind of thing. Don't drink and drive, kids. So, or anybody. So we get there and we are laughing hysterically. This is where the ninja skills left the building. We are now laughing. We can't stop laughing. And we're like, shh, shut up. You're going to wake up my mom. And, of course, she went to bed at the crack of dawn. So
You mean she went to bed at the crack of dusk?
that's it. Up at the crack of dawn is what I meant to say.
Yes.
So she went to bed so early, she probably already had, 10 hours of sleep. So here we are so I boost Heather back in the window. Like we boost each other up because getting out was easy because we had a stool and it's higher up. But getting in was another story. And we couldn't go through the gate. The front door is locked. Everything's locked. So Heather then proceeds to chuck the stool, and this is why the stool was inside,
Okay.
not outside. You
Gotcha.
chucked the stool outside, and I jumped up, and you helped pull me back into the window. So here we are, probably hot, sweaty, gross. Now we're extremely exhausted because we didn't even sleep at all. And so we go in and we take the dolls out of the bed and we're sitting there and we're like, oh my God, look at us. Look at us. Look at our ninja skills. Look at what we did. We snuck out of the house for a total of like probably 4 hours.
Yeah, easily.
And then we're like, oh, Heather, the stool is out front and your mom's going to get up to go get the newspaper in the morning and we're screwed. She's going to ask why the stool's out there. So probably not, because it was in the bushes. So she probably wouldn't have said anything. So we get our jammies on and we're sitting there. So Heather decides that she's going to go get it. So because right now you have the power of alcohol and you can do anything. And there's no consequences. And you just think you are so smart with a little booze in your body. You're like, bring it on, APV, we're in. So Heather decides I'm staying back because I'm chicken. I'm scared of the mother, right? So Connie ain't nothing to mess with. So Heather goes out the front door, out the gate, gets the stool, just chucks it in the bush where you can't see. You can't see it, which it was probably you probably couldn't see it anyway, but whatever. So she chucks it in the bush, right? So goes back inside. Here's Connie at the door. What are you doing? Oh, I forgot my toothbrush in the
I
car.
took my toothbrush out with me.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that part.
I
So,
had to have because she would have been like, Where's your toothbrush?"
okay. So anyway, you're like, I left my toothbrush in the car. The toothbrush. Like, wouldn't you have gotten it the night before to brush your teeth before you went to bed? Anyway, so, thinking on your
She
feet.
bought it.
She bought it. Thinking on your feet, and something else to consider for, a future job. think, you thought on your feet. So anyway, so you get in the house and you're like, oh man, you know, my mom was out there and said, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I had to get my toothbrush out of the car. So now we're back on cloud nine because now we're like, we got away with this. So we're waiting, right? And by this time, I'm sure we fell asleep for a while. We get up and Heather's mom and the stepdad already went to work. So we get up whenever we got up and, we went about our day and we're waiting and we're waiting for her to say something. So we wait and then she gets home and doesn't say anything. So we're like, okay. And then, that was Saturday, right? So Sunday, nothing, no word. Monday rolls around, nothing. And at this point, we're like, did we just get away with this? Did we just get away with this epic adventure? And I think we waited because she didn't call my mom, and your mom was infamous for calling my mom and calling me out on stuff. She wasn't gonna not say anything if
Oh,
she
there's no way she knew. If she knew, she would have, like, she would have had me arrested for stealing her car.
probably, and she would have told my mom, and my mom would have not had me arrested, but she would have been very disappointed in me, Malinda. So we got away with this epic adventure.
It was
And she didn't know.
no.
There's no way she knew. Fast forward, two things fast forward. One, I'll talk about your mother first. Fast forward years later, like 20 plus
Oh
years
yeah, we
later.
were adults.
Yeah, we were adults. We go there, and this is where the story gets a little vague because Heather thinks that I said something, but I did not. Heather said, like the time we got away with stealing your car. And Connie's like, what? 20 years later, she's still going to like try to punish us for some reason.
Oh, well, and she tried to say that she knew. I'm like, dude, there's no freaking
No freaking
way
way.
that you knew. I
Any
would have been beat. I would have been arrested. I would
No,
have been, there's no,
exactly right. Any opportunity that your mom had to be extremely mean to you and punish you for something, she took that opportunity. So there's
it
no way.
wasn't that bad. But
No,
she
no,
was,
you know what I mean. Yeah, I
yeah.
know. I love Connie. We love Connie. But I'm just saying she would take any
Oh
opportunity
yeah.
to yell at you or say something or like,
Yeah.
Heather, now
She would,
you're grounded or you can't go here or you can't go there. You can't have the car, blah, 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 blah.
I was grounded all the time.
Yes, I was never grounded ever. So, or either that or you'd have to like work for free
Yeah.
or something at the video store.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that we told her later on, and I thought it was pretty funny. It's pretty funny. It's
It
pretty
is hilarious. It was a great story.
it's a great and
I don't know how we again thought that dolls with yarn hair and pillows was going to pass off as,
I know. And the
living
second
humans.
the second thing that happened because of that event happened on that Monday in my English class. I think it was fifth period on the second floor of Red Mountain High School. My little crush taps me on the shoulder and he says, hey, where's the next party this next weekend? And I'm like, holy crap. What? He's like, yeah, I saw you at the party on Saturday. He goes, where's the next one? Can you let me know? And from that day forward, I told him every single party that I knew about. And I saw him at every party that we went to.
I want to know who this is. I don't remember who this is.
0% not telling you anything.
How do I not remember this?
Oh, because you never went to school.
Oh, this is true.
So remember, I was the good student.
Yes, I was not.
Yeah. Anyway, but whatever, you changed your life around. So is that the story that you remember?
Pretty much, yes. Minus the crush because I wasn't in that class, so I don't remember that part. But yeah, pretty much. Those Disney parties were fun.
Yeah, they were fun. I think I did tell you that this person said something to me, but
I'm sure you probably did.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm a dreamer.
I just want to know who this person is.
15-year-old life. In my 15-year-old life.
Oh.
Very popular student at the school. Very popular. So that is our epic story our epic ninja adventure that we had and we got away with. So anyway,
It was
that,
fun.
that
Good.
was a fun. That was one of the, I would say that's one of the better stories that we have.
And
And
I
we
have
had,
lots more. I could do my whole own podcast on
I know
my
that's a good one. I mean, we've known each other for 41 years, so we got some stuff.
Oh God.
But that was so fun. It was
That
so
was
fun.
yeah. That was probably the most epic one. The others probably didn't take place in the 80s either. So there's that.
Well, I mean, I graduated high school in 1991, so a lot of stuff happened prior. A lot of stuff happened between the 15 and 17 range
Yes.
where we were just two shitheads.
Yeah. For me,
Like,
it was like 15 to 18. And it was
yeah,
just wild.
we were just like, just, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It's
It was
terrible. It was terrible. So, and then at 17, almost 18, in August is my birthday, I moved. So Heather had her own epic adventures after that. I mean, I didn't move far. I just went to college, but we didn't hang out as much. And
yeah.
so you had other fun times with other people for a while.
Sure did. But by the time I was 19, I pretty much like
Got it together.
got it together and met who would be my future ex-husband. And that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. If you have any epic stories that you want to tell us, I did put a form on our social media. So we're now on Facebook under 80s Parenting Podcast and on Instagram at 80s Parenting Podcast. And we'll try to keep up with that. I do have a TikTok started, but I have not posted anything yet. But on Facebook, also on Instagram is the platform that I use the most. There's a form that's a Google Doc form that says a lot of things about the podcast and how to be on. If you want to be on the podcast, you can fill out this form and we'll get back to you with the time. And if you just want to write in your story, a funny story, an epic adventure, a family trip, anything like that has to do with 80s parenting, go ahead and write us your story. You can put it right there on the doc and we will read it. So I think that would be a super fun thing to do.
or let us know if you want to be a guest on the show.
Yes, and that's also on there if you want to be a guest. Just click that box and send us your email and your name. And we don't need to use last names. You can even be anonymous if you want to be anonymous. We don't care. But we would love to have you on. And thanks for listening.